Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I'm here to talk about the decriminalization and legalization of marijuana. To start with, I feel that's something that God has given us. We should take full advantage of it. Now, I'm going to begin with the history of marijuana. Whatever cannabis, marijuana, weed, whatever name you use for it, refers to the part of the cannabis plant that are used either as a recreational drug or as a medicinal treatment. And according to the United Nations, it is the most widely used illicit substance in the world. But where did this plant come from? The cannabis plant originated in Central and Southern Asia, but it's a well-traveled weed. Charred cannabis seeds were found at an ancient burial site in what is now Romania, and it shows that the ancient site in what is Romania, and it shows that people have been smoking it since the 3rd millennium BC. And a few years ago, in 2003, a leather basket full of cannabis seeds and leaf fragments was also found next to a 2,500-year-old mummy of a shaman in China. There's also a reference to the hemp plant that appears as early as 2700 BC in a Chinese manuscript. In the year 200 AD, the first pharmacopoeia of the East listed marijuana as an anesthetic. And around another example, around the year 300, a young woman in Jerusalem received medical marijuana during childbirth. Now, European explorers arriving to the New World first observed the plant in 1545. It was considered to be such a useful crop that early Jamestown settlers in 1607 began its cultivation, and later, in Virginia, farmers were fined for not growing hemp. Around 1800, marijuana plantations flourished in Mississippi, Georgia, California, South Carolina, Nebraska, New York, and Kentucky. From the 17th to the mid-20th centuries, marijuana was considered a household drug, useful for treating headaches, menstrual cramps, and toothaches. Also, a study published in the South African Journal refers to pipes dug up from the garden of Shakespeare's home in Stratford-upon-Avon had traces of cannabis, which were confirmed via chemical analysis. Research scholars theorize that the journey in my head were references to the drug and its use. And the Spanish and the Portuguese also were no strangers to marijuana. In 1492, a small fleet of vessels was commissioned to set sail in search of a new route to the east. Christopher Columbus headed up the fleet's command and bravely took on the job. What many Americans fail to realize is that Columbus and his crew were well stocked with marijuana. Not just enough for the trip to the New World, but enough to last them until they arrived, planted, and harvested their own. Cannabis as a medicine was common throughout most of the world in the 1800s. It was used as the primary pain reliever until the invention of aspirin. In 1937, the United States made prescriptions for cannabis illegal through the Marijuana Tax Act. The only opponent to the legislation was the representative of the American Medical Association. In 1976, the United States federal government created the Investigational New Drug Compassionate Use Act research program to allow patients to receive up to 9 pounds of cannabis from the government each year. And they were paid for by federal tax dollars. But at the same time, the U.S. FDA continues to list marijuana as a Schedule I drug, meaning it's a drug with a high potential for abuse with no accepted medical value. Now, to me, is a false statement completely. Today, people can get medical marijuana from a doctor for such conditions as headache, glaucoma, and nerve pain. Pain is the main reason people ask for a prescription. But doctors also prescribe cannabis for people who have cancer, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, muscle spasms. It helps ease pain, nausea, and loss of appetite. It can also help people with seizures disorders and Crohn's disease. California voters were the first to legalize medical marijuana in 1996. It is now legal in almost half of the United States. There are 23 states and the District of Columbia who allow the use of medical marijuana. Smoking pot has been known to increase lung capacity, decrease the number of seizures in certain conditions, and it's also being researched as a way to slow cancer cells from spreading. It relieves anxiety and slows down the progression of Alzheimer's disease. In people who take treatments for hepatitis C, it helps them complete the treatment that are painful, that makes them sick, and have been shown to decrease their viral counts. People who have arthritis have been prescribed cannabis and report a lower amount of pain and discomfort in their disease and sleep better. A study published by the American Journal of Medicine on April 15th of 2014 found that people who smoke pot have a slimmer waist and a healthier reaction to sugar. Ladies, if you listen, it improves the symptoms of lupus, reduces pain and tremors in people with Parkinson's disease, has been known to increase creativity, and being researched as having neuroprotective qualities that help people with strokes and athletes who receive concussions. If you live in a state where medical marijuana is legal and your doctor thinks it would help, you'll get a marijuana card. You'll be put on a list to buy marijuana from an authorized dealer, which is called a dispensary. Now here's the economical side of marijuana. According to Colorado State Department of Revenue, the first 10 months of legal marijuana sales have resulted in nearly $40 million in tax revenues. And also the city of Denver saw a decrease in violent crime rates in the first 11 months of 2014, following a similar trend in 2013. Statewide traffic fatalities continue to decline, according to the Colorado Department of Transportation. Upwards of $8 million has been allocated to fund youth development and education programs and drug prevention efforts. In that state, Colorado is enjoying economic growth and the lowest unemployment in years. In Washington, D.C., Police Chief Kathy Lanier stated in a public speech to the American News Women's Club that Police Chief Lanier acknowledged alcohol is a far bigger concern to public safety and the well-being of her officers. Marijuana smokers are not going to attack and kill a cop. They just want to get a bag of chips and relax. Alcohol is a much bigger problem. Marijuana smoking may not be healthy, but I'm not policing the city as a mom. I'm policing it as a police chief. And 70% of the public supported this. Today, cannabis as a drug is still illegal in most of the world, though some countries allow small amounts to be portioned to the population for medical purposes. But the laws regarding the use of marijuana are changing constantly. Pro-pot activists foresee a day when marijuana comes under the same restrictions as tobacco, while some anti-drug lobbyists continue to tout cannabis as a gateway drug that leads to the inevitable use of harder substances like methamphetamine and cocaine. That is my thank you very much. I hope everybody has a good day.